So before we get started with this video, it turns out that in the previous video I was doing my top 10 Superman, and you see the part where I dropped my phone. Yeah, it broke. My phone's completely dead, so I am not in a good headspace to keep going with some Patreon requests. So I'm just gonna do this one and then call it a day. I am so not in a good headspace to even do fan fiction stories right now for Patreon requests. It's not saying I'm not gonna do them at all. I'm just postponing them until I can get in a better headspace. So yeah. So I just wanted to do this one real fast and move on, and because I got other stuff to do today. And yeah. Anyway. So I apologize, but I will, the moment I get all this situation figured out, I will basically get back and do some Patreon requests once I'm in a better headspace and everything else. Anyway, yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, let's get started. And as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link in the description box below. Head on over to my Patreon, hit the third tier, that'll allow you access to do so. But having said all that, let's get started with the video. And this is a Patreon request that comes from Major Mercury, who asked me to do basically asked me to do a hero-villain mashup between Randy Cunningham and Chase Young. So we got Randy Cunningham taking on Chase Young from Xiaolin Showdown. So for those who are unaware of as to what hero villain mashup is, hero villain mashup is a segment where I basically take a hero or villain, a villain, and put it in another hero's rogues gallery, and what it'd be like for that hero to deal with that villain. So yeah, here we go. So honestly, Chase Young might honestly be the most lethal villain that Randy's ever come across, more lethal than McFist or the Sorcerer. Because here's the thing, McFist is run by ego, and the Sorcerer and by extension Sorceress are more magic based. And while they are pretty powerful, they're also, they have their own weaknesses. Chase doesn't have that problem. Chase would be just an absolute menace from day one. I think he would look at Randy as like a potential apprentice and potential disciple of his, probably tempt him with being a mortal and being a great warrior, and then get his ass stomped. Like when Randy says no, he's just going to be like, okay, your choice. So I think that would be kind of a thing. And also I think Chase would kind of rescind his offer to join him, because I think at first he would be like, see, okay, listen, ninja has potential. I would imagine, because Chase Young is immortal, he's encountered other ninjas, so he's like, I know the ninja's not immortal, I know it's a title because I've killed a few of them. So, and every time I go to the ninjas, when I look at them, when I think they have potential, I go to them to make them the offer. But seeing you in person, you've got talent. That's something. But your ego, your everything else, yeah, you are more lackey material than apprentice material. So Randy would be like, look, dude, look, Lizard Eyes, I got no time for you, and then try to attack him, and that's when Chase would just put the absolute hurt on him. Because here's the thing, Randy's never really fought someone. Really, the only person he's really fought who has any kind of martial arts skills is Pat McAfee, or Mac Antfee, sorry. So, yeah, Mac Antfee Mac is the only guy he's fought with him, and that even then he had difficulty. So to encounter someone who has centuries of martial arts skill, topped with enhanced speed, strength, and agility, and very smart and very intelligent opponent, Chase is just going to absolutely just tenderize Randy in their first fight. He is just going to absolutely trounce him in that matchup. He's just going to be like, yeah, talent, but is that coming from you or the mask? In fact, I imagine in one swift motion, you just rip the mask off and be like, let's see how you are without the mask, and then beat Randy down and be like, I was mistaken. So I feel like that would be and here's another thing. There's also, we have to take into account the absolute psychological warfare Chase would just put on Randy. There's no telling like how much damage he could do psychologically to Randy, of saying like, getting it at all of his insecurities, everything else. Because Chase is not only a great fighter, he also knows how to like pick you apart mentally in a fight. So I would imagine if they encountered each other, like Chase would just say something to goad Randy into letting his anger get the best of him, and then he just proceeds to just, mop the floor with the guy. Therein lies a big thing, is that I think a lot of people, like, why Chase was so cool as a villain was because he could just hurt you with words. And trust me, words hurt a teenager a lot. So it would stand to reason that Chase would just be an absolute menace to Randy, on a psychological level too. I really do think that Randy would just be, at one point, it'd be almost like Batman fighting Bane, where he just, like, Chase would just exhaust Randy to the point where he'd just take him the fuck out. And on top of that, Chase also he's just faster than Randy. He's stronger than him. And I think he would try to force Randy to, like, go to, like, try to pull out the more darker stuff from the book. And that's what Chase would want, is because he's like, he would want he wants his opponents to, like, tap into that darker side to fight him. Because that's how he works. He's like Palpatine. He wants you to give into that dark side, so you have to fight him on his level. The only way you can, and then at the end of the day, he is just going to enslave you without even exerting that much power over you. So yeah, I do think that Randy would absolutely get Randy would just get absolutely terrorized by him. And let's also take into account that Chase can just come at Randy through his friends and family, come at him with like constantly, just again and again. And God help Randy when he goes in that lizard form, or just swarms him with his cat warriors. He's just like, Cunningham is just outclassed. Like, in the 4 years he can be ninja, he's still outclassed by him. Like, yeah, the Shaolin warriors were pretty powerful in their own right, but they could never really beat Chase in a head-on fight. Even as a team, he's that fucking good. So imagine a guy who only gets his training from a book, who is so full of himself, his ego is like on another level, and he doesn't have the greatest of moral compasses. Chase is just going to chew him up and spit him out, and then stomp on the carcass. So yeah, wouldn't be a good day for him. Anyway, but you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if Chase Young was a enemy of Randy Cunningham? Just comment below, let me know. Once again, I'd like to thank Major Mercury for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.